Hello and welcome once again to this Red Gaming Tech video. Myself, Amata, as always, I'm here with the latest news from the tech world in the last 24 or so hours. Just so you know, guys, I will be away for a few days for Christmas. I'll be back for a few days before going away again for New Year's for family stuff, but there will be content over that time, just not from myself. Anywho, we're going to begin things with a little something from Intel. And they have apparently not stopped acquiring talent from their rivals AMD, as they have hired Masuma Baiwala, and apparently she started working at Intel in December, but before that she had been with AMD for years, since 2004. So this is just another in a long line of top executives who have gone over to the other side. Now, according to a report from crn.com, which you will find linked in the description below this video, Masuma is going to be leading its discrete GPU division, which of course we're going to be seeing launched in 2020. And her official title is Vice President of Discrete GPU SoCs, and she has more than 27 years of experience in building silicon. So it is going to be very interesting to see what she does over at Camp Intel, along with all the other former AMD veterans, who have joined the company. But we're going to move over now to Apple. So, for those of you who are in the know, you'll know that the company has had a bug bounty program for quite some time. However, it was previously invitation only and the payouts were fairly low, or at least lower than they are now. Because according to 9to5Mac, they have opened up their bug bounty program to the public and are offering payouts of up to 1.5 million for severe vulnerabilities that can be exploited without the user having to do anything. So, things that can be activated remotely. So this is pretty damn interesting, to be honest. Apple did have their fair share of criticism for the decision to keep it invitation only and to keep the payouts lower than they currently are. But at the moment, the bug bounty program will pay between $100,000 for low priority vulnerabilities such as, quote, unauthorized access to iCloud account data on Apple servers, and 1 million for, quote, zero-click kernel code execution with persistent and kernel PAC bypass. And there is also a 50% bonus on top of this for anyone who finds issues with beta software releases. Now, you will of course find the 9to5Mac article, linked in the description below this video, but you will also find a microsite which has been set up for the security bounty. So if you want to know more about the bounty categories, their rewards, and the eligibility that you have to meet in order to be eligible for these rewards, you will find all that information in that particular description. So if any of you are budding bug bounty hunters, perhaps you fancy yourself a bit of a digital Mandalorian, then perhaps check out that link in the description below this video. However, we're going to move over from Apple now to AMD. And we've got a couple of things from AMD today, but the first one is a little bit of a strange one, but very interesting, as first generation AMD Ryzen CPUs are appearing with 12nm architecture. So cast your mind back to 2017, where of course the Ryzen 5's 1600 CPUs were launched on the 14nm Zen architecture, but now we have updated versions of the chip appearing in stock, which has the 12nm Zen Plus core architecture, but interestingly it is maintaining that 1600 nomenclature, because obviously Zen Plus was a whole micro generation, the 2000 series, so in this case it would be the 2600, but in this case it is a Ryzen 5 1600 with Zen Plus 12nm cores. So how do you tell the difference, I hear you ask? Well, the original chip would show, a serial number of YD1600BBAE, whereas the new one will show YD1600BBM6IAF at the bottom of the processor itself. Now, this is thanks to a Reddit thread from Bogo Poetry, who has posted various things on the AMD subreddit, including a screenshot of Cinebench showing this information. Now, there is still a difference in terms of specs as well between the 1600 12nm Zen Plus variant and the 2600, because the 2600 does have higher clock speeds, but we would still see improvements in IPC, as well as a few overclocking improvements here and there on the 1600 Zen Plus. However, the Redditor who originally posted this said, quote, that the original Ryzen 5 1600 CPU boost speed would drop down to 3.4 GHz under any 1 to 2 core load, while the AF version of the CPU can sustain the 3.7 GHz speed for longer periods, which is only 200 MHz lower than the Ryzen 5 2600 CPU. And this whole thing has been kind of done under the radar. This is not some big announcement that AMD have made. This has all been done very quietly, and it has just been spotted by this Redditor, who again is a Vogon Poetry. So perhaps if you're looking for an insanely cheap processor that would give you some pretty nice performance, this might be an unexpected contender that you might consider looking at. However, as I mentioned, this is not the only Ryzen piece of news I have for you this morning. We also have something regarding the 4000 series. So this is just days after the first chip leaked out on a 3D Mark benchmark, and these are, just to remind you, Renoir APU processors that are expected to come out in early 2020. Now these are all thanks to a user on mobile01.com's forums, and of course you can find that linked in the description below this video. However, you will need to get your Google Translate on. However, according to the user on these forums, the top SKUs of the 4000 series APU lineup would be the Ryzen 9 4900H and the Ryzen 7 4800H. Now, they also said that these are going to be featuring 8 cores and 16 threads, but unfortunately we do not have any other specifications detailed, at least at the current moment. However, that is not the only thing we have for the 4000 series today. We also have some ASUS gaming notebooks which have been listed with Ryzen 4000 APUs, should I say. The Ryzen 7 4800HS has been featured in ASUS's GA401i7 laptop, which is basically the 4800H, but basically with more power efficiency for, of course, the mobile platform and lower clock speeds, unsurprisingly. Now, they did have other listings, of course, that showed various other Ryzen 4000 processors, including the 4800H, the 4800HS, of course, the Ryzen 5 4600H, and the Ryzen 5 4600HS. So basically you don't have to go with the lower clock speed variant or the tweaked power variant, so they are offering some options there. Obviously the more powerful ones and more power hungry ones are undoubtedly going to be in more expensive machines. So these parts are going to be facing off against Intel's Coffee Lake H series processors for the 45 watt parts, and the 15 watt parts are going to be facing opposition from both Comet Lake U and Ice Lake U. Of course, we should wait for more benchmarks, listings, etc. before making any judgments as to who's going to come out on top there, because again, while we did see some 3D Mark listings the other day, we only know the clock speeds from this particular listing. So I'm going to wait and see for more before making any assumptions, but nice to see Renoir showing itself finally after ages, it feels like, of speculation and rumours. Oh, and just one last thing that I want to touch on in this video before I close out is the Steam Winter Sale, or Christmas Sale, whatever you want to call it, is now live. I just want to go through some recommendations from what I can see on today's front page, and from what I would recommend just from my personal bias and love towards these games. Speaking of bias and love, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice is 66% off, making it £8.49. That game is an absolute steal at that price. Actually just got finished replaying that with my partner. He absolutely loved it, which was a huge relief because he bought it purely on my recommendation for a fair amount of money, but he did enjoy it, so whew. But regardless of all that, it is a brilliant game. It was my game of the year in the year it came out, or one of my games of the year, I suppose I should say, sorry, because I always usually do a top 5 rather than a game of the year. But regardless, it was in there. It's a brilliant game. But we also see Little Nightmares, which I've picked up for £3.99. That's something I've had my eye on for quite some time, so glad to see that so cheap. Salt and Sanctuary is also reduced, 75% off at £3.39. Prey, 75% off, £4.99. Titan Souls is basically free at £2.74. And we also see the old favourites like The Witcher 3 is on sale again for £7.49. That's 70% off. We do see a small reduction for Jedi Fallen Order, but it's still very expensive given how expensive the full game is. It's $54.99 full price. So even with a reduction of 17%, we do see it still racking up fairly high at £45.64. Unfortunately, unsurprisingly, Halo Master Chief Collection is not reduced at all, but I don't think anyone's shocked by that at all, given that it literally just came out on Steam a few days ago. Far Cry 5, however, is also a really nice price. It's 75% off, £12.49. not bad at all, given that the game is not that old. Stardew Valley is also 40% off, making it £6.59. Personally, that game isn't really my thing, but everyone seems to really enjoy it that likes Harvest Moon, so perhaps you've been holding off for it to go a bit cheaper. That's a pretty damn nice price if I do say so myself. And we see games like Yakuza 0 coming in at 66% off, making it £5.09. Plague Inc. Evolved is 60% off, making it £4.79. You know, I could go on and on. There's literally thousands of games on sale, and while I am away for a few days, when I come back I'll probably do a roundup of the best recommendations and all of that good stuff just before the end of the Steam sale, because undoubtedly we will see more on the front page. Unless you go searching for a particular game, it's kind of hard to spot certain games, to be honest, with the amount of games that are on sale. Anyway, so that's just a few recommendations from yours truly for today, but thank you so much for watching. As always, your support is highly appreciated, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.